Hey fellow scientists, my name is Izzy, and thank you for joining us for another round of Science Hour. If you saw our previous video on chromatography, you remember that we used a piece of paper, printer paper, and that we marked it with a washable marker and dipped it into water, or at home maybe you're trying a combination of rubbing alcohol and water, or a different marker than other than just a washable marker. But if you remember, we dipped it into water and we let water run up it using capillary action, and we saw a separation of colors. Well, this time on Science Hour, we're going to do something different. Very, very similar to what we did, but we're going to do it slightly different using permanent markers instead of washable markers. And so, what we're doing today is not necessarily going up a piece of paper, but it's going around. So it's circular chromatography. We're going to drop a drop of rubbing alcohol in the center of our design, and we're just going to watch it spread out. So it won't necessarily separate colors, but it's definitely going to drag the colors along, and it's just going to be so cool. So let's talk about the ingredients that we need. So we're going to need a few different colored Sharpie markers. So let's start off with like a black. We definitely want a black. We want some kind of green, turquoise, dark green, and then red. I also want to use some kind of dropper. You might have some kind of plastic dropper at home. And then we only need about a few ounces of rubbing alcohol in a little cup. So let's see if we can find a white t-shirt, or perhaps even a white piece of cloth. It doesn't have to be big, but we want to use a white piece of cloth, even an old t-shirt that you might not use anymore, to do this experiment. So for me, I'm using another lab coat, and I'm going to use a sleeve of it. So let's talk about what's going to happen here. So very similar to last time, we had a solvent, which was our mobile phase. We had a stationary phase, which was our piece of paper, and then we also had our marker, which was our compound of interest. It's the same idea this week, except we're slightly changing it up, and we're using a piece of cloth for our stationary, we're using a permanent marker for our compound of interest, and then we're using rubbing alcohol as our mobile phase. Now it has to be rubbing alcohol because water will not work with Sharpie. Do you know why? If you said it's because Sharpie doesn't dissolve in water because it's permanent, that is absolutely correct. Sharpie dissolves in rubbing alcohol, but not water, so it won't work with water. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to mark a circle, we're going to make some kind of design, and then we're going to drop our rubbing alcohol over it and watch it spread out. So let's see what happens. Just so it won't bleed through, I advise you to put a piece of cardboard or maybe even something else that would keep it from bleeding through on the other end so it won't damage any countertops. Alright, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to just draw a little design. We're going to start off with our black marker, and we're going to draw a little circle, and then we're going to follow that with some kind of cool design. Alright, so once you have your design, we're going to use our dropper, our plastic dropper, and we're going to drop a few drops of rubbing alcohol over the center of the design. So let's start with this one first. Well, I want to do this one first. So I'd say about 10 drops would be okay. And then just stand back and just watch it go. Now you can see that the color starts to spread out as the rubbing alcohol spreads out. Alright, so that's what we get. Again, we see stationary phase stays still, our mobile phase is the one that moves, and so then that mobile phase drags along with it the different colors, and so we get somewhat of a separation of colors, but we really get a cool design where the colors spread out. Now with this, these are some designs that I had. I encourage you to try different designs, try drawing something different, something fun, and then just dropping the dropper over the center of it. And honestly, You can even try different color markers. I only have 4 right now, but you can try different Sharpies and draw some kind of circular design, square design, whatever you want, as long as it drops over the center of it, and then just watch it spread out. All right, fellow scientists, thanks for joining us again, and we'll see you next time.